you doing?
Good, good.
Let's go to questions for defensive end Chantz Williams.
Hi, Chance. Obviously, you've got a lot of experienced coaches in your ear with Coach Joe, Rod Wright, and also Jason Taylor. How much interaction have you had with JT? Has he given you anything, any on-field tips that you've been able to apply?
Jason Taylor has been great around the room. You know, having him in the meeting room is a blessing. He's a guy who's made more plays than anybody here in the building. I feel he gives us these tips that, you know, an old vet uses, and he's allowing us to understand the game a whole lot. So having him around has really just been a great tool that we've used. And everybody goes to him, you know, off the field, asking questions and stuff. He's just always around, so it's great to have him.
Just the number of coaches you guys have, just how much of a difference has that made?
Personally, me, I feel like I'm growing more as an individual, being like the focal point of one specific coach, but I also learn from all the coaches around. They all give their insight. So I feel like it's a complete difference from just having one position coach to having three, and now it's just, you know, nice to have them.
So how's that making a difference with you, Chance? How are you getting better?
I'm focusing more on the defensive end standpoint, you know, pass rushing, you know, run blocking, setting the edge, stuff like that. Certain things that specific D-line coaches might have trouble just explaining. I know that my coach who's working on me one-on-one or with me and the other defensive ends, and he's making it easier to understand.
What do you like about this group of defensive ends? What stands out?
The thing I love most is that we're all young and hungry. I really appreciate how everyone's eager to learn. We're all very open-eared, you know, in the meeting rooms, taking notes, you know, because we have a lot of vets who are coaching us. We know that when Jason Taylor comes in and he's saying something, we know to write it down because we know how impactful he can be and how that can help us.
How have you seen, you know, the defensive line, defensive ends kind of improve, you know, from the first practice to now?
Specifically, all of us are we're all getting our second win back. You know, these practices are completely different from what we're used to. So the first day it kind of hit us in the mouth. And now we're kind of getting our win back, getting in there. We've been doing really good, and we appreciate that. And our technique has also been a lot better. We've just been, you know, toning in every day, putting in, and we're realizing we're getting out what we put in.
And it's kind of the same question for the offensive line. Who have been the toughest guys you've gone against?
All of them. If I'm going to be honest, Mirabal is working them hard, and he's honestly making all of us better in the trenches. So we appreciate those guys getting us better every day.
Every coach has rules. Most of them include being on time is one of them. To be a successful player under Mario Cristobal and to make him happy, what must you do as a general rule?
Do what you're supposed to do. That's all I could say. He says it every day, you know, do your job, do what you're asked of, but he also says early is on time. I'm glad you pointed that out because he is not a man of, you know, showing up late. He just doesn't tolerate it. And so we as a team know that's not what we're going to give him because we know how important it is. We've seen it work for other programs. He's told us and shown us. So we know what he does work. So we listen. We know what we have to do.
You don't have to name any names, but has someone showed up 5 minutes late and, you know, faced the wrath of Mario Cristobal?
Actually, nobody has shown up late. I feel like he demands that, and we respect it.
Any defensive ends that Coach Joe or Rod Wright have you studying on tape NFL, defensive ends or edge players that you've studied to try to pick up things?
That's actually an interesting question because not specific defensive ends, but just every defensive end and what they do best because they want us to be, you know, the all-around defensive end, not just being that pass rusher, being able to stop the run and set the edge, and then also getting after the quarterback.
So you'll look at tape of specific NFL players, just what they do best?
Not necessarily. We'll look at specific NFL players at a certain tape and see what they're doing really good, but we'll probably see, you know, we might see one defensive end setting the edge, and he might show up in the pass rush film as well. So we just take from all areas.
Chance, you mentioned how practices this year have been a little different. Can you just talk about that a little bit?
The setup now is just different, specifically for the O-line and D-line. We know we have the block destruction now, and then we take that into a 7-on-7 block destruction, and then we go into team. So I feel like he sets it up in a way that makes us be able to use our hands and our techniques better. And it's just a fast-paced practice, and it's something I don't want to say we weren't used to, but it's something we just had to get used to.
Has practice this time around been a lot more technical and more fundamentally based?
I feel like every practice is technical and fundamentally based, but with that, they also, you know, they're trying to condition us. This is spring. This isn't just a sit-around. Like Coach Cristobal said, this isn't spring. This is spring camp. So that's how we've all been approaching it.
How much are you impressed with the progression of Thomas Davis this spring?
I am extremely impressed, but personally, I seen what Thomas Davis could do right before he got hurt. So seeing him now build up on that and not drop off at all, it's been incredible to see, and it's nice to watch him.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
No problem.